On today's episode of the Bryan podcast, we're going to chat about Boeing because they're in the news.
Yes.
Hi, pal.
That can you guys?
Good, man. So, it's all about Boeing. They have withdrawn their request for temporary exemption from the certification rules for the 737 MAX 7 aircraft. The exemption was requested due to a potential overheating risk caused by the engine anti-ice system. So they hope to have this certified this year, but that's not going to happen. The company instead has incorporated an engineering solution to the problem. So it's not going to be a, quick fix.
Yeah. Interesting that, I was chatting to someone the other day about the whole Alaska Airlines door saga.
Yeah.
And
wow, what happened there?
well, I got to laugh, eh? People are so quick with a sense of humor. You know, these jokes coming out with Alaska and the open door policy now. And
Yeah.
But word on the street is that Boeing allegedly, were aware of this issue. But anyway, it was Alaska Airlines, I think, that had sent the aircraft to someone else for repairs, and it was a third-party company that had actually gone and removed these door plugs so they could work on something else.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to get the facts a bit clearer before I comment any further on it. But it sounds like it wasn't entirely a Boeing at fault with that particular story.
Well, going one step further there is quite a few articles basically saying the same thing. And that same thing is, if one more issue or one more manufacturing issue happens on the MAX, that could be the end of the line entirely. Might just get scrapped. Scrap the whole MAX production altogether.
What happens in is it the end of the production line, or do they turf the ones that are in operation as well?
No, I think,
what does that look like?
I don't know, but it's borderline. There's so much scrutiny over. Let's say something major did happen again. Airbus have some issues as well. They're talking about 320. We'll go into that just now, but there's a directive out for them as well. Wing cracks. What happens if the same thing now on the MAX could be the end entirely? FAA might just pull the plug, but we'll see. Staying with Boeing, of course, it's United. They've resumed using their MAX 9s for passenger flights. Alaska also resumed their service. Inspections on their planes all the inspections on the planes are due to be completed by the end of the week. So at least they're back in the air. Something a little bit more positive for Boeing and my shares, which are down significantly.
Just chat about that quickly because, in terms of our very professional and sage financial advice, you made the investment, you bought shares.
I bought the shares for $230 USD.
But now that was just after the
crash.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I thought I was getting a deal.
This is now part of the buy low, sell high strategy.
That was my strategy.
Okay, cool.
And so I bought for $230. It's still going down. They're like $200 a share now. But as I said, I thought I was getting a deal. Luckily, however, for yours truly, my Bitcoin investment is doing a bit better. And then I've also bought shares in American Airlines. They're down as well, and Delta is down as well, and United also down. So my portfolio is taking a hit.
So
I bought. Look, let me clear the area. I've bought shares there to actually use as a bit of a comment piece on the show, because like the aviation industry or airlines more specifically, how hard is it to make money? It is so flipping hard to make money. The amount of things that can go wrong that can result in a downward spiral of your shares is so big.
Yeah.
And you're reliant on so many third-party companies. That's like the direction I'm going with it. Look, I mean, I bought one share in Boeing. It's hardly gonna, but it's just to give myself a bit of an idea how, why would the American Airlines shares ever go up? What's going to make it go up? I'm interested to see. I don't actually know. I'm gonna check. Why would Delta, why would it spike all of a sudden, or do they stay relatively consistent? They do seem to stay relatively consistently down. But,
Yeah.
that's been a bit of a trend when you and I buy anything.
No, look, that's why I decided I'm going to hold on to my ZAR, and I'll start investing in microbreweries and stuff. Because if there's going to be a share that goes up, it must be in beer or something like that.
Yeah.
But let's see how it goes, because it's an interesting experiment.
It is a bit of an experiment, yeah.
Yeah. Look, to all our fans and listeners, no doubt if anyone's got some knowledge on this, I think Bryan could use some advice.
Some sage financial advice.
But it is quite a cool thing to look at. I mean,
Look, I think
for us as pilots, I mean, we've never tinkered around with that kind of thing, and you experiment with it now, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys and girls out there that are actually involved with this that do know a thing or two about it and can maybe say, well, look, this is what you should be looking at, or actually just don't go and invest in airlines at all.
Exactly. I've got a different theory.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone knows what the fuck's going on. I think there's just posers that pretend that they know, and then they come up with a theory afterwards. Oh, yeah, that went down because of this, or it went up after the fact.
That's
I don't think anyone's got a cooking clue, to be honest, including the registered service providers. But so we'll keep track of that.
Cool.
On a also positive side, Ryanair CEO, he's expressed interest in picking up early deliveries of the 73 MAX 10 if United decides they don't want to take them. So United have come out and said, well, too risky, this aircraft. So O'Leary says, I'll take them.
Yeah.
So
the risk taker.
Yeah. And then Turkish, they've signed a deal with Dubai Aerospace Enterprise, DAE, to lease 10 new 737 MAX 8s. Agreement was announced yesterday. Aircraft will be transferred to Turkish in 2025. So they're still buying them. People are they still need them. And I still think you're going to see a lot of these aircraft in the skies, and maybe in 10 years' time, when the dust is settled, this probably going to be one of the most sought after and used passenger narrow bodies in history. I don't know.
In saying that, I guess what you're saying is that does make sense. With all the stuff that they've had to fix and repair and revise, it's probably going to be the most over-engineered fucking airplane in the sky.
It's like an old-fashioned aircraft in a way. It's like an MD-80 DC-9 type of vibe. The thing's been rebuilt so many flipping times with so many add-on extras. Because, it's got a flipping, upgraded anti-ice system and all the rest. We made the comments. I mean, there's other aircraft that have had also pretty major sort of safety concerns that they've sort of, fixed with a crew notice type of vibe, just operate like this and you won't have the problem. But Boeing, on the MAX, that can't happen. So, yeah, that's the news there. I thought we'd chat a little bit about some South African news, because we haven't spoken about South African airspace in a while and what's happening. Very sort of min stories. FlySafair Air, South Africa's favorite airline, is flying, I made that up, but it's true, Cape Town to Kruger now. Obviously competition to the more expensive Airlink. How do you think that's going to play out?
I think it's going to be quite an interesting warfare in terms of ticket prices between the two.
Well,
we should actually do that now as an experiment as well. While we're experimenting with everything, is actually monitor the prices now and see how do Airlink react to that.
Yeah.
Look, it's a highly popular route, Cape Town Kruger, and I think they're going to do well on it. Safair.
Wonder why they didn't jump on it earlier. Restricted.
So I was chatting to some mates the other day. Met up with some of the guys, who are flying for all the different airlines, and we were all just, bantering about like who's flying hard, who's doing what. Sounds like,
that sounds like pilot talk.
yeah, it was a typical flipping.
How's your
Yeah.
roster?
Yeah. Yes, but I'm like,
Did you Oaks get the 6%?
yeah,
Nah, unions
I don't have a weekend off for 3 months. Anyway,
Grass is greener.
SAFI have just recently started this Joburg, Livingston, and Vic Falls route.
Mm.
And it sounds like it's starting to take off quite nicely for them. It's created waves for the other smaller airlines
Yeah,
that
believe so.
were trying to operate on it. But yeah, something interesting I found out, and it obviously goes to show why SAF is so successful as a low-cost airline, was that the 737-400s,
Yeah.
which they actually own, are being used on those routes. So they've been quite clever about which aircraft they use on which routes,
Okay.
which obviously satisfies the bean counters. And it sounds like they are actually now, as the routes are developing, are going to start using the 800s. So yeah, they're on the up and up. And obviously with that, with my mates that are flying, comes the usual talk about the guys that are stuck on the 400s are doing those usual routes and they long 4-legged days. But yeah,
it always goes in waves like that in an airline.
It does seem that industry-wide in South Africa, I think we've just gotten over the festive season route, so things are tapering down a little bit as far as how many hours the guys are flying. Small break between now and the sort of Easter holidays.
Yeah.
Ja.
Other than that, looking through Fly Africa, and that's still the best source for what's going on here.
Mm.
Yeah, still limited. Everyone, as you say, working their guts off. Shout out to a couple of people, actually. Shout out to Aussie Mike, who seems to be loving life in Broome.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout out there. Miss you here. Shout out to Caroline Cole, who's now flying for Eswatini.
Yep.
So listen out for Caroline on one of those flights. And a major shout out to our new Patreon pledge.
Oh, Peter Maynard.
Thanks so much, Pete.
Yeah,
really
man.
appreciate it. And yeah, another Patreon. So thanks so much. Appreciate that. Shout out to anyone actually flying out in South African skies at the moment.
But on that note, particularly in the last couple of weeks, the weather around here has been somewhat horrendous. And yes, you see these storms in the afternoons and evenings, and the guys are working extra hard. You jump onto flight radar and you see the Oaks are in the hold and diverting. So yeah, shout out to all our mates out there that are wrestling the Welkom Waghonde.
Yeah, true story. It's been pretty wild the last few days. Haven't seen any sort of hail here, but it's been pretty wild.
Storms have been intense.
Runway changes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's always the indicator. Yeah. So you forget, when you're not that vibe. But we got some upcoming events, and maybe we'll chat about what Ryan and I are doing. We're putting together a nice little video on how to fly an ILS. That'll be out pretty soon. But we're also going to do a deep dive into something, and it's also linked to a bit of pilot mental health, which is such a major talking point at the moment. And it's a bit of a theory of ours, actually, as to why it's such a factor. And he's speaking about bad weather and, flying approaches down to minimum and bouncing around.
Hectic rosters
and that. So we're gonna jump into that. So keep a lookout, and we'll be chatting about flow state and
thinking fast,
thinking slow, red brain, blue brain, and all that type of open loop, closed loop thought. Yeah. So that's coming out. So Ryan and I are working on that. But thanks, pal. Always enjoy the pod.
Short cuz, there was a jaw. Catch you in the next one.
Listen out, keep track, and thanks for listening. Cheers for now.
Ciao. Bye.